Is it the sole responsibility of people of Maharashtra to learn everybody's language? But it is nobody's responsibility to learn the language of the state which feeds them. These people writing on Instagram and justifying on this one world, one universe, one language, they are basically trying to understand the whole world as a flattened world. Whose problem it is? It is the problem of Maharashtra's bureaucracy.
Right.
Revenue bureaucracy, transport bureaucracy, which is absolutely corrupt. Corrupt to the core. This combined with delimitation, combined with Hindustan narrative would eventually lead to balkanization of the country. So this is a symptom of the disease. Mumbai is the project of national capitalists and now the transnational global capitalists. So when there was Hindi imposition, it took months for Ravish Kumar to speak about Hindi imposition, and a number of other very rational Hindi commentators did not speak about it. If Modi, Shah and the RSS hegemony is the problem, Hindi hegemony is an equally disastrous problem. So Mira Road, Bhainder, Vasai, Virar, Palghar is almost like a colony of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Now this is something no state would tolerate.
Language always becomes a contentious issue, especially when it comes to Maharashtra and Marathi. When Maharashtra government recently passed the rule, it declared the rule that rickshaw drivers, the auto drivers and taxi drivers across Maharashtra need to be able to speak basic sentences in Marathi, which is the local language, which is the state language, and that has caused a furor. What is the background? What is the context of this ruling? What is the linguistic politics of Maharashtra? And what is the importance of this discourse? This is the question that we are going to ask today. And for this discussion, we have with us Dr. Deepak Pawar. He is the head of Marathi Abhyas Kendra, and he has been a prominent name in the linguistic movement for last 3 decades. So welcome, Dr. Pawar.
Yes, thank you, Prathamesh.
So my first question would be, why is Maharashtra engaging in ethno-fascism?
Okay. First of all, it is not ethno-fascism. Secondly, Maharashtra is not imposing anything. And thirdly, if Maharashtra is doing something like making its official language mandatory, Maharashtra is doing it a bit too late. Okay, so let me now explain. What is the government of Maharashtra asking the rickshaw and taxi drivers to do? Basically to speak Marathi. When are they supposed to get the license for rickshaw and taxi driving? After they are being domiciled, which is 15 years in the state.
Right.
So after you stay for 15 years in a state, and if you are not able to speak the official language of the state, whose problem it is? That is one part of understanding this complex situation. Another part of understanding this complex situation is, suppose if you are not able to speak the language or you are not willing to speak the language, just because you have landed up in this city like Mumbai, Thane, Pune and other cities just recently, but you have still got the license. Whose problem it is? It is the problem of Maharashtra's bureaucracy.
Right.
Revenue bureaucracy, transport bureaucracy, which is absolutely corrupt. Corrupt to the core, and this bureaucracy gives you Aadhaar card on day 1, gives you domicile on day 2, gives you the license on day 3. All this is done at a cost, all this is done at a price, and this is known to the transport minister, this is known to the chief minister, this is known to every single person in the system. So if you are staying here for 15 years or more and not speaking the language, then it is arrogance. And then you have no place to stay in the state, you should go back. If you are staying here just for few months and therefore you argue that I can't learn the language of the state in such a small period of time, then there is a serious problem in you getting a domicile certificate, because that reflects on the rottenness of the system. Right. In both cases, it is exposing a kind of deep-rooted disease in the Maharashtra political system, Maharashtra's bureaucracy, and overall demographic politics of Maharashtra. Now, as you use the word of ethnofascism, a number of accusations are made like parochialism,
Right.
regressiveness, backwardness,
Regionalism.
regionalism, lack of being unconcerned about mobility, and so on and so forth. So the question is it the sole responsibility of people of Maharashtra to be considerate? Is it the sole responsibility of people of Maharashtra to learn everybody's language? But it is nobody's responsibility to learn the language of the state which feeds them. So, when the rickshaw and taxi drivers were told to speak Marathi, this is not the first time that any transport minister has spoken about. Few years back, Divakar Raute, who belonged to the undivided Shiv Sena, he had made it mandatory, and there was a lot of hue and cry, and then he had to withdraw. Then Pratap Sarnaik, he said that by 1st of May, Maharashtra Day, every rickshaw and taxi driver would have to speak Marathi. If they can't speak Marathi, their licenses would be suspended, not terminated, suspended, and then they can go back and learn Marathi and again get their licenses back. But then there was again a lot of pandemonium, and then people said, no, you can't make it compulsory overnight. And here, it is not only the North Indian rickshaw taxi owner. If I may tell you, there are 4 cab drivers who have filed a case in the Bombay High Court. It is Mohammad Qasim Ahmad versus State of Maharashtra. And according to them, this rule affects their livelihood. Now, if I understand the name of this particular person correctly, he is probably a North Indian Muslim. So, he was staying in his own state of Uttar Pradesh or Bihar or Chhattisgarh or some other state where he did not get sufficient for his livelihood. So, he came here for livelihood. So, Mumbai and other parts of Maharashtra provide for his livelihood, which according to him and 3 other cab drivers is getting affected. So, when you come here and stay in a state without following even the basic principle of respecting the language of the state, is your right to livelihood, is your right to mobility under Article 19, which people keep on throwing at us, is it so absolute that you can completely disrespect linguistic reorganization of states? And if you are like disrespecting language of Maharashtra, would you have the same courage, same audacity to disrespect the language in Tamil Nadu, disrespect the language in Karnataka, Telangana, Kerala, and even Uttar Pradesh? If you can't do that, then Maharashtra cannot be singled out for insulting the language of the state and insulting the pride of the linguistic community. If this is ethnofascism, Hindi ethnofascism is almost part of the deep state. Let us try and understand this fact very clearly.
Okay, but some would say that what use is a language compulsion in something like auto driving? Like they are just providing a service, and they can make go by a few words or even sign language. Some people have even suggested just teach everyone sign language. So what is the use of making Marathi mandatory for something as mundane, according to a lot of critics, as auto driving?
Now, let me ask you a parallel question. Who are these critics? These critics are of certain categories. One category of people is the North Indian intelligentsia, if I may call it as intelligentsia, who speak Hindi, who speaks English, but doesn't bother to understand any third language,
Right.
despite recommendation from the Kothari Commission. So, you are monolingual or you are bilingual because you require English for your own mobility. If English is the requirement for mobility, Marathi is the similar requirement for mobility because you have come to Maharashtra by choice. This is point number 1. Secondly, this particular argument, a stupid argument of sign language. If sign language would have been enough for any kind of mundane conversation, people would not have made serious attempts in developing and structuring languages over a period of last thousands of years. So sign language may help you in certain cases, certain people in certain cases, but it cannot be universalized. Another category of people, which is the liberals, okay, the liberals, sometimes even the left intellectuals, and basically the NGO wallas. They are the ones who are overly sympathetic about the poor people coming from the Bimaru state. Would they spend some moments of their life in spend and try and understand those problems, similar problems of poor people in Maharashtra? So rickshaw taxi drivers or Uber drivers who come to Pune, they come from Marathwada.
Right.
They also have similar problems of survival.
Right.
Rickshaw taxi drivers who come to Mumbai, a number of them are from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. They have also problems of survival. If they have problems of survival, and if Maharashtra is the linguistic state, and if North Indian taxi drivers are unwilling to understand the language of the state, would it be unfair on the part of the state of Maharashtra to say that first preference for rickshaw taxi drivers would be given to migrants from hinterland of Maharashtra and not from other states of Maharashtra? So this is one thing which we need to understand, that liberals have this kind of unsolicited sympathy, especially which is a kind of universalized sympathy, that all are poor, all poor require help of the state, all poor require uninterrupted freedom from any particular state, any particular society. So when a rickshawala is expected to speak Marathi, now the government of Maharashtra has prepared a syllabus. You can check the syllabus. The syllabus is actually a 4-hour syllabus. Okay, they have spent months in designing that syllabus and implementing that syllabus, and the rickshaw taxi drivers are saying that we tried to understand that language, but we tried to speak that language, but we have to pay our loans, we have to pay our EMI, our family is struggling for survival. Where will we get the time to understand this particular language? The question that the media persons sympathizing with them should be asking is, why did they not learn this language before the government of Maharashtra made it mandatory? Was it not their duty to learn that particular language just because you have come to stay in this state by choice? So, when you use Article 19 in a very indiscriminate manner, I think there is a newspaper which has written an editorial and said, in that editorial it says, why linguistic assimilation should be considered necessary for employability. So without any kind of linguistic assimilation, employability should be given, which means within a state, within a linguistic state, you should have multiple linguistic ghettos, which would eventually convert themselves into political constituencies at the local level, at the state level, at the national level, and these constituencies would be carved out, especially in vulnerable states like Maharashtra. They would not necessarily be carved out in states like Tamil Nadu, where linguistic strength is more organic in nature. The editorial also talks about expansion of mega cities like Mumbai, and they argue that the migrant labor would be able to sustain urban economy only when their livelihood is dependent on this kind of mobility. So you are allowing mobility to the labor. You are flexible about the mobility of the labor, but you are not concerned about the usage of the language, because the labor should be available at a cheaper rate. Labor should work for 12 hours, 14 hours, 18 hours without any kind of trade rules. That helps the capitalist class. That helps heightened consumerism. And in justifying that, the mainstream media, which is also a voice of in heightened consumerism, they justify absolute flexibility for the labor and any kind of control on the labor because of language which might give some upper hand to locals is considered as an anathema to their liberal philosophy. Their liberal philosophy is illiberal in nature. Their liberal philosophy is hegemonic in nature because these people writing editorials, these people writing on their X handles, these people writing on Instagram and justifying on this one world, one universe, one language, they are basically trying to understand the whole world as a flattened world, the whole world as basically a kind of non-complex world where the labor would talk Hindi because everybody is supposedly understanding Hindi. The elite would talk English because that differentiates them from the have-nots. That is the kind of new world these people are trying to create, and therefore when the rickshaw taxi owners yesterday they organized some kind of a morcha and they stopped people from getting into the rickshaw or walking out of that rickshaw in Mira Bhainder, in Kandivali, Borivali, where North Indians are in sizable population, where the leaders of the hooligans like Sanjay Nirupam, Krupa Shankar Singh, they keep arguing that you can't make this mandatory. These are the people who are basically propelling they are creating a kind of scenario where within Maharashtra you are creating disloyalty to the language. So someday people of Maharashtra, political leaders of Maharashtra, across political stream have to come to their senses, have to come to terms with this particular reality that all people speaking Marathi, irrespective of their religion and caste, are one, and those from the Hindi heartland, whether they are Hindus or they are Muslims, if they are opposing Marathi because they want to perpetuate Hindi hegemony and because they want to indiscriminately use Article 19, then they are enemies of linguistic reorganization of state. Now, some people keep saying that Article 19 gives you the freedom uh, for to mobility. You can stay in any part of the country, do any job of your choice. This particular article was drafted in 1949. Constitution makers did not visualize that there would come a time in this country where there would not only be migration, there would be exodus. Lakhs and crores of people would be migrating from one state to another, and the entire state and its economy and its demographic balance would be completely jeopardized. So, this is high time that we have a serious relook at Article 19, serious relook at stopping migration from the Bimaru states to the developed states. And if we don't do this, this combined with delimitation, combined with Hindi, Hindu, Hindustan narrative would eventually lead to balkanization of the country. So this is a symptom of the disease.
Okay, that's an interesting take, Dr. Pawar. But what I would like to ask you is, what is the actual context of this linguistic understanding of India? And like, for example, you use the word linguistic reformation, reorganization of states, right? So a lot of, as you said, liberals and commentators would like to argue, or they do argue, that the very premise itself is flawed, that states shouldn't have been organized on linguistic lines, and that created further divisions, and there should be uniformity in the national character. So, first of all, I would like to understand the context of linguistic organization in brief, because we don't have that much time on our hands. But with that, I would also like to ask, what makes Maharashtra's linguistic assertion so different from something like Tamil Nadu's, where I don't think the same liberal outrage can be seen when Tamil Nadu does something like this on linguistic lines?
See, linguistic reorganization of states, when the government of India decided to do that after 1953, SRC, States Reorganization Commission. A number of efforts were undertaken before that, either by Dar Commission or JBP Committee. Much before independence, Gandhi decided to organize the Congress on linguistic basis. But after partition and the bloodshed, there was a fear that linguistic reorganization might lead to further dividing of the country. But in hindsight, we realize that because India was divided on linguistic basis, India was not partitioned like Pakistan, or India did not suffer a kind of terror and violence as Sri Lanka suffered due to LTT. Now, Tamil Nadu or Kerala or West Bengal, their intelligentsia, a sizable chunk of their intelligentsia also speaks in English, and they are also very vocal in the media. So when something goes wrong in West Bengal, there may be some people speaking against linguistic chauvinism in West Bengal, but linguistic chauvinism in West Bengal would be automatically converted into proletariat struggle. Linguistic chauvinism in Tamil Nadu would be automatically converted into Dravidian identity struggle.
Right.
For a very long time, from the time of from the medieval period, even during independence, because the Marathas ruled most of the country during the medieval period, and they followed all those rules which were followed by all the medieval rulers. So they were not an exception to what other people did. So there is a kind of gossip campaign against Maharashtra that these people are not as loyal to the country as other people are. Similarly, in Maharashtra, there is a narrative where people say that Sahyadri always should go for the help of Himalayas. That is the kind of ultra-nationalist attitude that our people have. And Mumbai is the project of the capitalists. Mumbai is the project of national capitalists and now the transnational global capitalists. So for them, breaking of the unions, breaking of the unity of the labor, having complete mobility of the labor, making labor available at the cheapest rate at any cost and in whichever form that they want, they would like to justify this particular possibility by arguing that the state should not impose anything except more and more work. So when you are asking the labor to work for 14 hours, 16 hours,
Right.
that itself is inhuman. But that inhumanity is considered flexibility.
Right.
That inhumanity is considered as upward mobility. That inhumanity is considered as aspirational part of living. And therefore, when Shiv Sena or MNS, they speak for the rights of Maharashtrians, it is considered regressive. Now the problem is, both Shiv Sena and MNS have not properly comprehended the complexity of linguistic politics in Maharashtra, and therefore their politics has always been dependent on the core variable of migrants. So it is necessary that the migrants must understand Marathi. Migrants must speak Marathi, but it is also necessary that the regional people, the local people have to contribute heavily in developing regional language schools, have to contribute heavily in developing libraries for that particular language. If both these things work together, then reactionary politics and proactive politics, they go hand in hand. But our media for a very long time has been emphasizing only on the reactionary side of that politics, and that also in a hyper manner, in the sense there is one incidence of violence and it would be shown thousands of times. And then you would find there is outpour of commentators, mediocre commentators, ill-informed commentators from northern part of India. So when there was Hindi imposition, it took months for Ravish Kumar to speak about Hindi imposition, and a number of other very rational Hindi commentators did not speak about it. So if Modi, Shah and the RSS hegemony is the problem, Hindi hegemony is an equally disastrous problem.
Right. Just to inform the viewer, what Dr. Pawar is referring to is a couple of years back, Maharashtra government made Hindi compulsory as a compulsory language for students from standard 1. So that is as young as 6 years old, and a lot of experts in pedagogy have argued that teaching a foreign language and another language, other language than their mother tongue to such small children will hamper their educational progress and also confuse them with words with similar languages like Marathi. So that is the context of his assertion. Yeah, sorry.
So now we need to realize that when the northern belt or the typical RSS brand of politics keep on arguing that English is the problem, we know the English is the problem, but we are not asking the rickshawalas to understand English. Rickshaw taxiwalas have to understand Marathi, and you just see the booklet prepared by Kokon Marathi Sahitya Parishad and Mumbai Marathi Sahitya Sangh. These are smaller sentences, 15-20 sentences, which any person with limited common sense will be able to understand in few hours. The problem is linguistic arrogance. They think that nobody in this state can compel them to speak the language of the state because they are an autonomous zone in themselves. So Mira Road, Bhainder, Vasai, Virar, Palghar is almost like a colony of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Now this is something no state would tolerate. If the liberal intellectuals have some common sense left with them, they should travel around. They should not only talk to the so-called poor rickshawalas, they should also talk to the Marathi speaking people who have seething anger in them and try to understand why somebody like Pratap Sarnaik, who is not linguistic chauvinist in any sense of the term, he had to make this thing compulsory, and why Fadnavis, who is more loyal to Hindi than to any particular language, he had to defend this particular decision, however reluctantly. It means that the linguistic identity of the state is almost dying down. And that is why people are very anxious, people are very concerned, and therefore there is a non-compromising attitude that the common people in Maharashtra have.
You made an interesting point about the mobility of labor, and there have been a lot of propositions in understanding the mobility of labor, and a lot of them, especially the Marxist intellectuals around the world, they have argued that this kind of labor, pushing labor to migrate across the world and giving it that kind of push to, and almost sort of a forced migration, that helps in breaking down unions and breaking down wage levels of the certain countries who have manufacturing jobs, who have industry, and the local workers don't have the power to negotiate anymore with. So do you think that this kind of mobility within India is also part of the neoliberal problem, or is it part of just a natural migratory
No, it is also part of the neoliberal problem. You can see that there are North Indian migrants in Kolhapur. There are North Indian migrants in Vai, Satara and Mahabaleshwar. So it is not only a question of their migration, they are not able to understand Marathi. And the owners here are trying to understand Hindi to converse with them. In Dodamarg, Malayalis are getting into rubber plantation, and they have become so powerful that they are able to threaten the locals. In the same way, Nepalis are coming in cashew plantation, and some of them have become owners, and Marathi speaking people are working on their farms. So when there is neoliberal push for the labor, normally the labor would be pushed from a job starved area to an area where some job is available at any cost. So people move from, say, the northern states to Maharashtra, and it is in the interest of the capitalist for the locals to absorb the labor at any cost. Because if there is no unionization, if there are no basic facilities, if there is no proper infrastructure, then the cost of labor is very low. When the cost of labor is very low and still the cost of the product that has been produced is very high, the surplus goes to the capitalist and not to the labor. So as long as the labor stays in a weaker position, labor stays in a compromised position, and the capitalist is able to get all the extra money that is available, they would always support any kind of migration almost blindly. So if they are supporting migration blindly, and when the capitalists keep making argument that Maharashtrians don't work, Kannadigas don't work, Gujaratis don't work, the alternate question that should be asked to them is, if the North Indian labor is working so hard, say for example in Palghar, why is the North Indian labor not employed in his or her own state? And if after 75 years of independence, this is the condition that that particular state is facing, when are we going to challenge the political elite in that state? Rather than calling political elite in Maharashtra and intelligentsia in Maharashtra anti-national and parochial and regressive.
Right. One more question that I want to ask you, sir, is do you think that the Mumbai centricness of this issue, a lot of times what happens in Mumbai creates reactions across India, and like even in the discussion right now, the rule is for the state,
Yes.
but the discussion and the whole struggle and
Yes.
the clash
Yes.
is happening in Mumbai. So do you think that India understands Maharashtra, or India imagines Maharashtra only through the lens of Mumbai?
Absolutely.
And the other question is, what role something like Bollywood plays in that?
See, India understands Mumbai only through Maharashtra only through Mumbai, because Mumbai is where their attention is, and rest of Maharashtra, they are not able to understand rest of Maharashtra properly because they have not penetrated there so far. 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, they are going to penetrate in these tier 2, tier 3 cities as well, and they would start looking at it from that point of view as well. So the struggle which rickshawalas are doing now, are having now in Palghar, and their stupid anger which they are exhibiting now on the street there, would be seen maybe in a place like Satara. In Satara, near I think Kshetra Mahuli, North Indians here are performing Chhat Puja, and local Marathi corporators have displayed banners welcoming them. This is the sign of the danger which people have seen in Mumbai for last 3 decades. So looking at Maharashtra from the Mumbai lens is one problem. Bollywood is the problem, because in Bollywood, Mumbai is reflected only in certain cinema. People who have developed their wealth, people who have got all their resources just by being in Mumbai, their loyalty to Mumbai, their loyalty to Maharashtra, their loyalty to Marathi language is restricted to speaking 1 or 2 curated sentences whenever they deal with the Marathi population for the promotion of their cinema or for the promotion of any play. Otherwise, what they do for Marathi and Maharashtra is lip service. If you look at the same way in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka, in Kerala, in Andhra Pradesh, their industry, their cinema is deeply embedded into their cultural ethos. Our Marathi cinema is slightly embedded into our cultural ethos, but the Hindi cinema looks at Mumbai as their own autonomous territory, which is alien from Maharashtra.
Right.
So Maharashtra is as good as an appendage to Mumbai. It exists. It provides water, it provides electricity, it provides labor, it provides maids in the house. But it is an appendage to this glorious world called Mumbai. That is the kind of that is the kind of artificial structure that Bollywood and the world around here has imposed on us and also on people from outside.
Do you think it also perpetuates a lot of stereotypes
It
about
absolutely
Maharashtra?
perpetuates a lot of stereotypes, in the sense you will find what kind of Maharashtrians are seen in cinema. Okay, what kind of roles Maharashtrian actors and actresses get in cinema, what kind of protagonists they play. So, a number of cinema in Mumbai had shown Flora Fountain, but it has not shown Hutatma Smarak.
Right.
Very rarely have they shown the Sayukta Maharashtra Smarak. So, Marathi cinema is expected to show that. But if Mumbai is an integral part of Maharashtra, and if, say, for example, a film like Satya, a number of films which are dependent, which have shown Mumbai extensively, they did not feel an intense need to reflect, to show the Marathi-ness of this particular city, because that Marathi-ness was not deeply embedded in their mind. They are using Marathi only as good as their territory, as their colony. So Marathi is their colony, which can be utilized for capitalistic exploitation, economic exploitation, cultural exploitation, and once that exploitation is done, they need not bother about that city. That is why this argument comes, why are you imposing Marathi on rickshawalas? Why are you not asking Ambani and Adani? So we should ask Ambani and Adani also. But Ambani and Adani are going to speak not to people like you and me. They will be speaking to people like Fadnavis and Sharad Pawar and Modi. It is their job to speak to them in Marathi. But rickshawalas and taxiwalas are going to speak to people like us. And therefore, what happens on the other side is not our concern. Here, we will have to impose Marathi under any circumstances.
But since we spoke on the issue of Mumbai, a lot of arguments and a lot of people are also would also say that Mumbai was not created by Marathi people at all. The flourish of Mumbai is thanks to its migrants, and it is a city created on the migrant labor, or a Gujarati capitalist or Parsi capitalist. So what would you say to that?
See, Gujaratis contributed their capital, Parsis contributed their capital, Maharashtrians also contributed their capital, but Maharashtrians contributed labor. Maharashtrians contributed to the intelligentsia of this particular city. This labor, let us ask a question, would this labor have existed in some other place? If at all it would have existed in some other place, why did it not exist in Surat? Why was not it impactful in Ahmedabad? Why was it not impactful in Dharwad? And why was it not impactful in Allahabad, from where a number of prime ministers have come in this country? So Mumbai had some organic relationship to the capitalist development of this particular region. And as Dr. Ambedkar said during the creation of Maharashtra, that Mumbai is organically related to Maharashtra because Maharashtra provides electricity, Maharashtra provides water, Maharashtra provides manpower. This organic linkage, if you try to break it, people want to break it. They want a CEO for Mumbai. They want a lieutenant governor for the Mumbai state, MMRDA state. They would like to make a union territory of Mumbai, because it is not easily possible to convert it in as a part of Gujarat. So that may be a via media. The very simple question is it possible for Mumbai to survive without its organic linkage with Maharashtra? And Maharashtra has given Mumbai the kind of cultural edge that Mumbai has. So it is possible to argue that Maharashtra is not possible without Mumbai. Mumbai is also not possible without the organic strength that rest of Maharashtra provides this city. And therefore, this kind of callous and fallacious argument does not hold much ground.
Last question, Dr. Pawar. What I would like is, see, I know the dialogue has been stretched now, and it has almost come to a point where it's impossible. It looks like it's impossible to talk to each other. But in the national interest, let's say that in the national interest, and to keep the unity of the country and keep these tensions low, what kind of dialogue do you think should happen between, let's say, Delhi and Mumbai, or other states and Mumbai? What kind of dialogue should be initiated, and what understanding should be created for a healthy dialogue with each other?
See, a healthy dialogue is not possible on the premise that studying Marathi, learning Marathi is negotiable. Learning Marathi is not negotiable at all. So, any leadership from the north, whether it is Akhilesh Yadav or Tejasvi or all their punters from local politics in Maharashtra, they should not speak anything which creates more problems. Delhi, now basically Delhi is Gujarat. So, Delhi is Gujarat, and therefore Gujarat should realize that there is huge migration in their own state. In their own state, they have created a law whereby selling land to outsiders is not allowed. Similar, probably if Maharashtra has to become more assertive, Maharashtra should go that way. And a better dialogue is possible only when linguistic autonomy of the state of Maharashtra is respected. You can't have separate linguistic autonomy and respect for Tamil Nadu, and you think about NEET separately in Tamil Nadu and NEET separately in Maharashtra, TET separately in Tamil Nadu and TET separately in Maharashtra. Similarly, Ola Uber wala in Tamil Nadu, irrespective of his religion and origin, place of origin, will speak in Tamil. That is not happening in Maharashtra. Unless we come on the same page, dialogue is difficult, almost impossible. So now the ball is in the court of those so-called liberals and those so-called people who consider themselves as messiahs of the have-nots, non-Marathi have-nots. They have to come to their senses and understand that for Maharashtrians, enough is enough. We have suffered a lot, and we are not in a position to take any more insult and any more marginalization of the official language of this population, this language of more than 14 crore people.
But also, do you think that the northern leaders, like for example Akhilesh Yadav, who took a stand against all of this, do you think there is a lack of perspective on the very linguistic basis of which you are
Absolutely,
making this
absolutely. Because North India is a linguistic state which considers itself as a nation. That is their problem.
argument?
Other states, the moment they start looking at themselves as a national unit, there is a problem. North India considers itself by default as a nation, and therefore their hegemony is taken for granted. So before giving any kind of sermons and lessons, Akhilesh Yadav will have to tell himself and his brigade that rather than people who come here and stay, they learning Marathi, basically their children there should also learn Marathi if they want to go to Maharashtra, because things are going to be much more difficult than what they are today.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Pawar, and I think this dialogue requires another episode.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
sure. This was a brief talk of just as a primer to this whole issue, and I know, I'm sure we might have missed out on a lot of perspectives and talking points. We'll cover them in future episodes. What did you think about this episode? Do let us know in the comments. But in the end, to summarize everything, language is a sensitive topic because of some kind of encroachment that is going on and that is perceived by the locals. And I think the national dialogue is pretty much one-sided. That is my opinion also, as an observer. I think this dialogue, if it has to be healthy, it should be two-way, it should go both ways, and then we can speak of a healthy dialogue between each state, between each constituency and each language. So please let us know in the comments, what did you feel about this conversation. Do like the video, share the video, and subscribe to Indie Journal. Indie Journal is an independent platform. It's a reader funded platform. So consider helping us financially, and if not, at least like and share the video. Keep watching Indie Journal for its reportage and these interviews and podcasts.